Yep.
And that will just open up the whole cooler. There will be some water here. Of course.
Yep.
And so basically the biggest thing is this, these pads will last you 5, 10, 15 years.
Oh, they will. Okay.
As long as you don't see where they're basically starting to separate or all come apart, or if they're starting to separate there, that's basically the easiest way to tell if they're starting to not work as well as if they start to separate.
Okay.
Little stuff like this, not a big deal.
Right.
Like I said, if you start to get some stuff built up on the outside, not a huge deal. Like I was telling him, the biggest thing about getting a bunch of stuff built up on the outside, the more you get built up on the outside, the higher the humidity gets. So it'll get super stuffy, humid. If there's a bunch of cottonwood built up on the outside
So
of
if
the
we
pads.
feel a lot of humidity inside
It's all because the
building, then we
pads
need
are-
to come out and look at this.
Like I was telling him, you can hose off the outside of those pads and get the cottonwood off when it's just sitting there. It must have satisfied because that's nothing that we did to turn this off.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So what I always recommend when you're going to shut it off is basically just to turn the power off, and it's just a matter of just moving that up.
To the old.
Yeah, and that's just that way this can't come on at all when it's covered. So that way if someone decides to push the buttons inside, nothing will happen inside and ruin the motor because the motor is the most expensive part.
Right.
The easiest way to tell if you're not having any power is there's little LEDs flashing inside there. If there's no LEDs, which I can move so you guys can see them
I see it. Yep.
inside there, as long as there's no LEDs, you know you got no power. And then when you turn the power on, you want to make sure you're seeing the LEDs.
Yeah.
And those LEDs do give you a diagnostic. If something is wrong, they will tell you this is what is wrong and what's not doing things right. That's what those LEDs are for. But as far as the system itself,